What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video, and I've been slacking. I have been trying to keep a video every other day type of schedule. It's nothing like I'm committed to, and obviously I've made a video the past 3 days, so it's not the end of the world. And I'll just be completely honest with you. I didn't have a topic. I really had a topic to talk about, and the main topic I was anticipating talking about, I didn't want to do it till it was official, and I'm doing it now, and it's still not official. But there's a little bit of a twist. If you're an OG of the channel, which I hope you are, but I doubt that you are, I used to have this series 10-ish years ago. That's a long time ago. That's not even 8 years ago. I like to round. Well, I said 10. It was 8 years ago. So I am not calling this a podcast. If you want to call it a podcast, you can. I'm not calling it a podcast because obviously I'm not uploading it to other streaming platforms. I don't have a professional microphone that other podcasters do. I don't even have a professional setup. But I used to have the series, and I'd have guests on here, and we just talked about random stuff. 90% of the time, it was wrestling related, and it was called Shooting the Breeze. Because obviously when you're shooting the breeze, you're just talking about random stuff, random crap. And that's kind of what I'm going to be doing here in this series. Is this going to be a weekly thing? Probably not. But when there's a bunch of things that I want to cover, and it's something that I don't want to make a full video on, I'll talk about it here. That way it can all get covered at once. By the way, these used to be live. And while I'm filming this at 2:30 in the morning, I tried to make this live. And on the YouTube's live feature on my phone, like, it would make you set it up. You, like, create a thumbnail, and so my thumbnail was like this. And then, like, it would go live, and it was just a black screen the whole time. And then I was talking, and then when I watched it back, you could hear me. I don't know why it was a black screen. Why it was completely, like, black and shut off. Next time I might do this, I might try it on my laptop, see if it works there. But I was already in my setup with my phone, so that's why I'm just already pre-recording it, I guess you will. So, to recap, I used to have this, Shooting the Breeze. It's just, I'm going to talk about random stuff, random crap that I probably wouldn't want to make a full video on. If you want to call it a podcast, you can. I am not. I'm calling this an open forum, just to be a little bit different. Like I said, I'm also not professional. I don't have the microphone. I'm not uploading to any other platforms. I only upload my stuff to YouTube for now. Maybe one day, when I'm big and famous, I'll upload it everywhere. But that day definitely is not today. Today, however, is Austin 316 day, and what? Got my Stone Cold hat on. If you don't know, I was actually named after Stone Cold Steve Austin. My name is Austin, so that's why I love Stone Cold. I always have, like, he was definitely my favorite wrestler, and even if I wasn't named after him, he would probably be my favorite wrestler of all time. Like, I went back and watched the Attitude Era stuff, the ovations and crap, and just, he was a special performer. That, you know, that Vince McMahon was like, he was special. It was special. So, happy Austin 316 day to all of you. That will probably be in the title of the video. That is not the main topic. The main topic is Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Now, like I said, I don't remember. Like I said, I've tried to make this video like 4 to 5 times, so it all blends in what I've said. But I didn't want to. I obviously would have made a video about him getting traded there or being with the Jets. But as of right now, it's still not official. All week, we've heard it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And then today was the day when he finally was like, yeah, I'd like to play for the Jets. We finally got some clarity. And as a Packers fan, it definitely hurts. But I already made a video 2 weeks ago talking about how I did not want him back unless we were building a roster around him. That way we weren't really wasting time. And the only thing we really would have had to done was to bring in a old school OG wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins. I don't even want to say like a wide receiver one, but it's just like, I wanted him to have help. I wanted him to have a team that you look at and like, that can go to a Super Bowl. Because the team last year was not that. We did very well. We had a very bad stretch where we lost 5 games in a row. I believe it was 5 in a row. It was just bad. But it's just like, that's kind of what you're getting when Devontae Adams is not there and you're relying on 2 rookies who did very well, but sadly they did not do very well at the same time because Christian Watson got hurt. That was the Romeo Doubs time period. Then Romeo Doubs got hurt, and then Christian Watson took off to the moon. And then by the end of the year, they were playing, and it's just kind of like... But you get the point I'm saying. I only wanted Aaron Rodgers back there if we were building a roster around him. It's just like when you look at the roster already and just look at the timeline and just look at our trend in history, that didn't seem like it was going to happen. And it definitely sucks. And I definitely will... It will probably be whenever the first game is that I will not comprehend, oh crap, Aaron Rodgers not here. Maybe it'll be like the first practice, the first time you see him in the Jets uniform, is like, oh crap, he's not here anymore. Because as a Packers fan, this is what I've experienced. Like, obviously, one of the main reasons I was a Packers fan is a very wild... It's not really wild, but it's just like, I used to have this poster. I still do. It's hanging up over there. I'm pointing at it, but you're not seeing it. And it was a Brett Favre poster. But it was a double-sided. I don't know what the game was called, but it was the N64 game. Whatever. I think he was on the cover 2 to 3 years. But long story short, it's a double-sided poster. On one side, it is WWF Warzone. I know that. The other side, it is Brett Favre for the football game. And so, And I had a lot of Packer stuff, a lot of Brett Favre stuff already. My brother had the McFarlane Brett Favre statue, and then I told y'all in the Aaron Rodgers video that he became a Tom Brady fan and just took, and like, I think for a short time period, he was a Brett Favre fan. He wouldn't admit it now, but I think he was. And then I kind of adapted it. And then obviously I watched the Packers, and then very early on, and it definitely sucks, especially looking at it now, Aaron Rodgers early in his career with Green Bay won a Super Bowl. And what solidified him being my favorite player and being my favorite team is winning the Super Bowl. And Clay Matthews has the world title. He gives him the world title. He obviously does the discount double check. That's the celebration. That is probably the main reason I am an Aaron Rodgers Packers fan, is that Super Bowl win, and he had the world title next to him. He adapted the super discount double check. And it's just like, nobody really... I always compare everything to the NBA. In the NBA, and especially when I was in school, everybody's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning fans. In the NBA, everybody was LeBron or Kobe fans. And while I liked them, my favorite guy was Kevin Durant. I wanted to be different. So I like KD while everybody was liking LeBron and Kobe. Where in the NFL, everybody was liking Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I was liking Aaron Rodgers. And it definitely helped that we had a Super Bowl. I bought the McFarlane, Aaron Rodgers, and Clay Matthews. One of the few times that Walmart actually had the McFarlane NFL statues. I don't want to call them figures because obviously they didn't move. But I have the Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews. I have a whole Green Bay Packers section that I will post a picture in my on my community section just to like showcase. But just like I said, it is going to take a while to comprehend that Rodgers is not going to be there anymore. And it's definitely a sad thing. And it's going to be, like, obviously, he couldn't recap and express 18 years of emotion in a short interview where the Packers obviously weren't even the full topic. So it'd be very hard for me to do the same thing. But obviously, it sucks that he's not going to be there anymore. I am definitely looking forward to seeing what Jordan Love has to offer. I've waited 3 years. The main thing I've said, why did we draft him? I'm not a big college football expert, and even if I was, it's only really ever the first quarterback, and obviously that year was Joe Burrow. And in the Aaron Rodgers video, I'm going to keep referring to that because obviously a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, I already talked about before, but it's just coming up again. Jordan Love's got a big freaking task. He is going into his first year. He's been under Aaron Rodgers' wing for 3 years. But when you look at the other people drafted in that draft class at quarterback, Burrow already been to a Super Bowl. Tua Tagovailoa did great. Sucks that he's got hurt a lot because that's the only thing people are bringing up. Justin Herbert, one of my favorite quarterbacks. I would love if we would have drafted Herbert. It would have been game over. Like, I wouldn't have been, like, obviously we wouldn't have seen what we've seen from him now, but if we got Herbert, I would be jumping wall to wall. But obviously we got Jordan Love, which, like I said, I have high hopes for him. And then Jalen Hurts, the guy drafted after, the next quarterback drafted after him, went to the freaking Super Bowl as well. It definitely would have helped if he won MVP and the Super Bowl, but obviously that did not happen for Jalen Hurts. But you get the point. He's got high expectations already because the quarterbacks in his draft class have already exceeded expectations or have done well. The two guys that he's fallen behind led the Packers to a Super Bowl, and are all-time greats, whether you like Favre or not. As a Packers fan, I don't really have any problems with Favre. I know that a lot of people do, but that is besides the point. I don't talk about politics and all that crap. But you get the point. This is an Aaron Rodgers video, by the way. This is, like I said, not even talk about Favre anymore, but it's just like, I'm thankful for Aaron, thankful for all the memories. He's probably, like I said, during my time as a Packers fan, that is who I've watched. That is who I've seen a good majority of the times. There are a lot of good times. Sadly, there are a lot of bad times, but I'm thankful that I got to enjoy it. It sucks that he didn't stay with Green Bay his whole career, but when you look at the direction of the team, it makes the most sense. And kind of the way that it definitely sucks because he is grateful, and it's not like 2 all season ago where he was taking shots at Green Bay and just hating them. They're kind of like backhanded shots. The way he was talking, he was like, it seemed like the team wanted to go in a different direction. I want to go in a different direction. They were shopping me. It's just kind of like, I'm ready to move on if they're ready to move on. Where 2 years ago, it's like, I'm not coming. I don't want to come. Pause. But you get the point. It's just like, he had a lot of things to be frustrated about, and he aired his frustrations out, where this time around it's just like, I'm ready to not deal with this crap anymore and be in a new situation. That being said, the grass, he said this himself, the grass is not greener is greener where you water it. So hopefully he waters that grass in New York. And I'm going to sound like a huge casual, but I'm going to admit it already. I don't know much about the Jets. I know they hate Zach Wilson. It's very evident by a lot of their players, like, come on, Aaron, we want you, come on. Like, it's just like, they hate Zach Wilson. They are ready for him to be gone, which I don't think he will be gone. I think he's going to be his backup, which is just, again, going to be very funny. Because, like, obviously they're angling for somebody else to come take his job, and he's not going to be in the same position that he was. I know they got a great defense. I learned that earlier in the year when they did the Packers up. I know that they had the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. And allegedly, Rodgers has his want list, which was Allen Lazard, who was his wide receiver number 1 this year. And he did okay. I'm not going to say he did great. He definitely didn't do bad. But as wide receiver number 1, we obviously didn't make the playoffs. Randall Cobb, which I will never say a bad word about Randall Cobb. Love Randall Cobb. Again, one of those guys that had a lot of great moments, and he was one of the guys and part of it. Mercedes, Big Dog Lewis. It's definitely weird because I like comparing stuff to the NBA. He very much reminds me of Udonis Haslem, where he is just there to be the culture setter, to talk, to help the other guys out, and occasionally he plays. And when he does something crazy. Udonis Haslem has not done anything crazy in a long time, but you get the point. That's how I look at it. And Odell Beckham Jr., who is a wild card because several teams are looking towards him. But I would love to see Odell and Rodgers play. Obviously, it would have been better in Green Bay, but that's not going to be the case anymore. And like I said, I don't know much about the Jets. I know Garrett Wilson is there. Elijah Moore is there. I don't know if Corey Davis is still there. I only know him because he played for the Titans, and it was a big deal when he left, but he hasn't done anything since. But I would if they got Odell, Randall Cobb, who I saw some tweets saying that, like, this is going to be bad because Rodgers is trying to lead the show and he's trying to make it Green Bay. Randall Cobb, I don't think people are like Randall Cobb for Green Bay this year mainly came in during third downs and caught the ball because that's who Rodgers trusted the most, and it worked out a lot on third and fourth down situations with Cobb. So I don't think Randall Cobb is going to take a lot of the limelight from the 2 wide receivers they already got. Odell, I think, is probably the person they're worried about just because his Cleveland tenure obviously didn't end well. Then with the Rams, he obviously did well and became wide receiver number 2 for them when Robert Woods got hurt. But Odell's coming off an injury. So I, again, don't think that either one of those guys are going to take the limelight away from the guys they already have. I just think Rodgers kind of wants some insurance and wants some guys there that he wants. And obviously, they haven't, like Lazard, they've got. Which I did. I will admit, I forgot about Lazard. But it never hurts to get good wide receivers. The Packers have been complaining and wanting that for quite a while, and we never were able to do that. So, in New York, maybe it's a good thing. Like I said, I don't know much about the Jets, and this is going to sound like a weird thing to say. As long as Rodgers is still in the league, I'm going to want the Jets to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, if the Packers are there, I'm going to root for them and want them to win. But I'm going to want the Jets to win as well, just so this whole crap is worth it. So this whole experiment, I'm calling it an experiment. It's not really an experiment. This whole journey is worth it. So I'm going to root for the Jets to win. Are they going to win? I don't know. The AFC is a lot tougher than the NFC, but the Packers weren't going to trade him to an NFC team. And I was Googling, like, the NFC teams. There's, like, I couldn't think of many that probably would have took Rodgers. And obviously, like I said, the Packers probably weren't trading to an NFC team. Because the one that I thought of was the Buccaneers. Because they have a huge hole with Tom Brady not being there anymore. And I don't really want to see him in Tampa Bay just because he's going to have the expectations of Tom Brady. And I hate that Rodgers and Tom Brady have been linked and compared to each other their whole careers, but you get the point. And then I forgot, there was one, the Commanders. I like the Commanders. I know they're a very meme team, and they haven't had a great quarterback in a while. But I don't know. It would have been very weird. The Jets, it's a big market city. They obviously really wanted him. Obviously, again, if you watch my Rodgers video, I was wanting him to go to the Raiders. That way he reunited with Devontae. That didn't happen. I'm kind of laughing at the Raiders because I'm not going to say they got worse. I think they stayed the same or got worse. And I'm leaning towards the side of they stayed the same. Because Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, I don't think there's much of a difference. Because they have the same flaws. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo was coached by Josh McDaniel, but it's just like, Devontae, y'all didn't even like push for Devontae's guy. I don't know if they talked to Devontae or not. Because he obviously was like, y'all ain't talking to me about this crap. Don't talking about me about it now. So I don't know if like he had influence over Jimmy Garoppolo being there. It's just like, it was going to be hard to get an upgrade over Derek Carr. So it was definitely a very weird situation. But like I said, I don't think there's much of a difference between Garoppolo and Derek Carr. So I wish they would have pushed for Rodgers. But probably didn't want to spend a lot of money. And again, they just traded Darren Waller, who is somebody I talked highly about. And that is a whole funny and fishy situation of why he got traded. But it is what it is. So to recap this whole part of the shooting the breeze, thank you, Rodgers, for your years at the Packers. You brought us to the Super Bowl. I'm grateful for that. I know a lot of people aren't because they wanted multiple. I'm not going to be stingy. A lot of teams don't have Super Bowls. You brought us one. You have your whole moment. That is probably going to be the thumbnail of the video, is him holding up the trophy with the belt behind him, because I love that picture. Probably not. It's probably going to be him in a Jets uniform, because you get the point. But you get the point. Thank you. I'm going to be rooting for you in New York. That way this whole stuff was worth it. But if you have to play the Packers in the Super Bowl, which anything could happen, I'm rooting for the Packers. That's my team. So, that's it for the whole Aaron Rodgers part. Now I'm going to talk about another subject that I've told y'all several times. I'm going to make a video. I might make a video about it. I might not. And now I'm leaning towards not, because I'm going to talk about it here. Ja Morant's supposed to be coming back. I'm a Grizzlies fan. We've obviously had a crazy month. And it was not even just Ja, because obviously we lost Brandon Clark for the year, which sucks. Steven Adams, we don't know when he's coming back. He's supposed to come back the very end of the regular season. And obviously it was a crappy situation to, I don't know. Hold on. Code Red. The Grizzlies kind of triggered me and a lot of the fan base, because obviously they have issues they need to take care of. But as the fan base, we want to know what's going on, but they don't want to enlighten the fan base, because then that tells the rest of the league and the other fan bases the problems that are potentially going on. The Ja thing, like, because the longest time, we didn't know he was coming back. To be fair, I feel they knew when he was coming back. But they just didn't want to tell anybody, because they didn't want anybody else to know. They wanted it to be a secret. Which I understand that. But it made me mad as part of the fan base, because, like, I hated us being left in the dark. Just like with the Steven Adams thing. We thought he was coming back after the All-Star break. Like, and that was a whole 2 weeks. And he's like, oh, he's coming back. He's going to come back in this Clippers game. And then it's like, he's going to be out even longer. And it was just like, right when we thought he was coming back, like, what the hell? Why? So, it definitely sucks not having Steven Adams. That being said, I'm going to give praise to Xavier Tillman, because he has done, it took a while for him to fill the void. And obviously, he is not the rebounding machine that Steven Adams is. but he definitely has held up his own as a starting center, and he's having to play a lot because Brandon Clark's not there. That being said, Grizzlies sign. I would say here's another thing. Here's another problem. I would like to sign DeMarcus Cousins. I suggested it on Twitter, kind of as a joke, but kind of not, because the center market is very weird. The whole free agent market is actually kind of weird. But I was like, I was wanting them to sign DeMarcus Cousins just for depth purposes, because the playoffs are coming around. You'd rather him, because we have the injury replacement spot, because Brandon Clark's not going to be there. You should use it, in my opinion, and bring in DeMarcus Cousins. But maybe there's probably a reason they don't want to do it. That's because, like, this has been a week now since this whole topic's been out there, and they haven't brought him in, so you get the point. I didn't want to burp on screen, but... So, talking about Ja, he's supposed to come back. The main reason I didn't want to make a video talking about the Grizzlies is because I only talk about basketball-related stuff. And I said this several times. The main issue was a non-basketball-related thing. So, it would have been very weird for me to make a video on that. But he's coming back. He's eligible to play Monday against the Mavericks, but everybody's saying he's probably not going to play because he hasn't been in the facility, he hasn't revamped, he hasn't practiced and played basketball, so there's going to be a ramp-up period. So he'll be available after that. And then the playoff push begins. So, in this last part of the video, like I said, Josh's coming back. I'm happy to see he's back. Hopefully, I'm not going to say he learned a lesson. That's kind of like the a-hole thing to say that everybody's been saying, but he said it, everybody else is saying it. I'm probably just going to say it as well. And hopefully we don't have to experience anything like this again, because that would be terrible. So, what else was I trying to say? The playoff race. We've been the second seed almost all year. I don't know how the hell we've been the second seed almost all year, but now we're kind of flip-flopping back and forth between the Kings. They're the second seed right now. We're the third seed. And I'm going to pull it up, because I've said it a couple of times and thought it definitely. There's not an easy matchup in the first round. So having the second and third seed hasn't been the biggest difference to me, because like I said, there's not really an easy matchup. So I'm trying to find what the actual thing is right now. Dun, 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 dun. Of course, I click. I gotta go to Twitter. I'm on Instagram. This is a bad video. But you get it's just like, the main reason I'm saying that is because, the main reason I'm saying I don't care if we're second or third is because, there's not an easy matchup. But I feel if we're third, we're definitely getting a worse matchup. I don't think worse is a word. So right now, I'll talk about the Nuggets in a minute. The Nuggets are the 1 seed. They have 5 games over us and the Kings. And the 8th seed is the Mavericks, who have been bad. They've just been bad. I was kind of holding out on this Luka and Kyrie thing, but they haven't played this week. And they lost to the Grizzlies 2 times in a row, but obviously they play them again Monday. But you get the point. They haven't played. The trade was very weird, because there's a good possibility Kyrie doesn't come back, but it's just it was a very weird trade. That being said, Luka is a magnificent playoff player. You don't want to see him in the first round. You just don't want to see him in the playoffs, because he's going to do his part. He's going to do his part. It's about the others now. So the Kings are the 2 seed. The 7th seed right now are the Timberwolves. And obviously, I'll talk about 9 and 10. The Timberwolves, I don't know when Cat's coming back. He's supposed to come back. Is he going to make the team worse? Maybe, because they've played a good majority of the season without him, and they started to turn it up when he went out with an injury. But obviously, you got a max contract player and a guy that's been there. He's the longest tenure guy there. You're going to play him. You're not going to sit him out. But from the Grizzlies' perspective, you beat the Timberwolves last year. Now, a good chunk of that team is gone. D'Lo's not there. Vanderbilt, Pat Bev, they're not. Malik Beasley, they're not there. The main guy that did us up in the Timberwolves, however, is there. And that's Anthony Edwards. Also, a voice and a veteran for your team, Kyle Anderson, is there to help them. Y'all's strong suits, they're going to know. He's going to be telling them. So, the Timberwolves, I don't think they're a way better team than they were last year, but they're not a worse team than they were. I think they're very equal, because it's an addition by subtraction thing. They got rid of a lot, but what they added back slightly helps them. And again, I'm only talking about this from a Grizzlies perspective. And to be fair, what I'm saying about these teams kind of fits all the other teams, but I'm mainly talking about it for the Grizzlies. In the 6th seed, the Warriors, which that is the main thing. That is the main reason I don't want to be the 3rd seed, because you got to play the Warriors in the first round. And obviously, if a team is good enough, you're going to have to play them, but that would be a very, very toxic thing to have to go through in the first round. And the Warriors have been bad this year. That's the crazy thing. They've been very good at home, which almost every team's been very good at home, but they have been very bad on the road. They lost 9 games in a row on the road. And it will bother the hell out of me if time comes around. They've been bad on the road all year. Playoffs come in, it's like that. They switch. It's going to bother the hell out of me. Some team's going to have to go through that. Either the Warriors are going to crumple because their regular season flaws go into the offseason, but they're so experienced and have their big 3 and have their 4 rings that they constantly bring up that the offseason, the regular postseason. I kept calling it offseason. Postseason is going to come around, and I don't know. It's a 50-50 thing with them. That being said, as a Grizzlies fan, again, if they're good enough, we're going to have to play them. But for toxicity and just the chaos that the last year's playoff series came, I'd rather see it in the second round and not the first. The first round, my hair would be pulled out. It just would be too crazy. And with Draymond and Dillon Brooks, everybody would be watching that series, however. A lot of people will be watching it because they're expecting something crazy or some fight, some kabuckle to go on, and I bet it would. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. But at 5 are the Clippers, and we did just lose to them after having a big lead on them, having a big comeback, and then we lost. So the Clippers, y'all know me. I said they had the best 10-man rotation after the trade deadline, and they finally started turning it up. The whole thought process with the playoffs is if you are good enough and if another team is good enough, you'll eventually have to play them. But there's definitely been certain situations, like last year, where that wasn't really the case. So, like, for the best example I can think of it is the Mavericks and Suns. The Mavericks weren't a better team than the Suns. They just had a way better playoff performance, and the Suns ultimately crumbled. So, what am I trying to say? You're going to have to see, like, it's been what I've said the whole time. There's no easy playoff matchup in the first round. The easiest one would be the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the 9th seed. And the only reason I'm saying that is they are the least experienced out of these top 10 teams. You could talk, like, I'm not even really going to talk about Trailblazers, Pelicans, and Jazz. The Pelicans, we don't know if and when Zion's coming back, and they just haven't been good without Zion. That's just been the case. Obviously, they made playoffs last year. They could still make a playoff push. It's seeming very slim right now. Trailblazers, same thing. Jazz, very inexperienced as well. So, when I'm talking about the top 10 teams, the Thunder are the least experienced. Their only guys that have been in the playoffs have been Dort, which his playoff experience was in the bubble. Dario Saric, who was obviously on a finals team, but I think he got hurt in the finals. That's when he got hurt. And Shea, who one of his playoff runs was in the bubble. His other was as a rookie on the Clippers. And obviously, Shea is a magnificent player, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But every team is going to hope the Thunder, there's going to, like, the Nuggets are praying the Thunder make the 8th seed. They become the 8th seed just because they're very inexperienced. That's just all I'm saying. I like the Thunder, but it's like your first year in the playoffs. You make it at the second round, you probably should put a banner up. You should celebrate that if you beat the number 1 seed and you're the 8th seed. But you get the point. There's no easy matchup in the first round, and as a Grizzlies fan, I'd like to be the 2nd seed just because we didn't, like, if we ended up as the 3rd seed, that means we regressed because we were the 2nd seed last year. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it matters how far and how competitive you are in the playoffs. We made it the first round last year. Second round came, and we got smacked in the face. So hopefully, the second round comes back, and we don't get smacked in the face. We throw some punches, which is just a hilarious, like, entendre, because we would hypothetically be playing the Warriors, and, you know, Draymond punch. You get the point. But there's no easy match-off in the first round, especially for the Grizzlies. In the East, I hate to say it and sound boring. I think it's very much between the Bucks and the Celtics. And the Celtics have been struggling as of recently, and the Bucks have been on fire. And if the Bucks are healthy, I'm 90% sure they'll be in the finals. Unless they have an injury. Every playoff run, there's at least one injury for almost every team. And the Bucks experienced that last year at Middleton. The Celtics, kind of with Tom Lord. The Sixers, Embiid missed Tom. The Nets, Ben Simmons. Like, you get the point. Every year in the playoffs, somebody gets hurt. So, but if you're to ask me who's making it out of the East, and that's why I don't really talk about the East, because I think it's very evident it's going to be the Celtics or Bucks. And if the Bucks are healthy, I am choosing them. The 76ers and Joel Embiid has been making a big push as of recently. But when you look at evidence for them, and I made a whole video talking about the 76ers, they haven't made it out of the second round yet. I don't really know if they will this year either. I don't know. I think it's also, they're most likely going to have to play the Celtics in the second round, and the Celtics have constantly had their number. So that's why I'm not so high on the 76ers. Joel Embiid, however, this is going to be the last thing I talk about in the video. I know I just said the Grizzlies thing would be the last thing I talk about, but I don't really think I'd make another video. I don't know. I'm going to make a video about it. There's going to be a tease for a future video, maybe next week. What does Joel Embiid have to do to win MVP over Nikola Jokic? So I think that's going to be my next NBA video. So this is going to be the end of this video. Like I said, happy Austin 316 Day. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers. Ja, please come back soon. I'm not going to say play basketball. Don't put Grizzlies fan. Don't even put the NBA through the stuff that happened. Hopefully you're well. And I'm not going to say like anything smart ass, because obviously I love Ja and all that crap, but hopefully he is well. That is the moral of the story. So this is the first of this. I don't know when the next one of these Shooting the Breeze is going to be. Like I said, this is not a podcast. This is an open forum. I'm just going to talk about anything and everything that comes to my mind. And these have been the main topics that have came to my mind. And I didn't really want to make another video talk about Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, because at this point, I don't know when the hell it's going to happen. So this was the best day to talk about it. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. You might be getting a double upload today. I don't know if I'll upload my ROH2 review on Friday or today. I don't know when I'll film it, but at the latest, it will be up Friday. So thank you for watching this video. Watch all my other videos, watch my future videos, and I'll see you in the future.